Hello. Today's question is quite interesting. One of the favorites of mine, and maybe the most general one that there is. The question is, what is life? And a smaller question that comes with it, then, well, what is the meaning of life? So I'll try to tackle them. I'll try to not make a video that is like 10 minutes long, but let us try. First question, the meaning of life. Simply putting, in a crude sense, in 3 words, life is suffering. That's it. Life is suffering, period. Well, then, what is the meaning of life? Meaning of life is for every individual to find an entity that is so valuable to them, at most valuable. So meaning of life is to find something that is of that high of a value for which all of this suffering is worth it. Or to paraphrase, meaning of life is to find something for which suffering for which makes the original suffering quite less. So something that is worth suffering for is basically the meaning of life. Now, let me explain a bit more about the first question. Second question can go on and on. We'll take it some other time. But the first question is, well, life is suffering. Well, how so? How so? Like, explain a bit more. So, let us start with anecdotal experiences. You can do an exercise that just think of a time when you were in adversity. Just think of it, and like you'll see scenario like starts to come up from your experiences and from your life as you go on. And then think of times when you were in bliss, ecstasy, like best life. Now do that and try to quantify them in a sense that, well, how many instances were there when you were thinking about adversities and then bliss or happiness in general. So, and how clearly do you remember each one of them? What you will find is bliss, happiness is much more forgetful than your adversities, the hard times. So there must be something in struggle that makes it all the more important, because biologically also, and you yourself, every memory being the core memory, wherein the memories pertaining to your adversities, hard times, troubles have a higher percentage in existence. So, well, that is part number one. There must be something. Number two, humans tend to grow in adversities after, like when they go through adversities, they grow a bit more. They add some qualities into themselves. So to grow, adversities, struggles are important. If everything is given to you in your plate, you will not do anything whole life. That is not very hard to understand. So, number two. Number three, well, a counter argument to this is, well, somebody can say life is not suffering, life is beautiful, which is not really a wrong answer, but you cannot just get up one day from your bed and say, okay, life is beautiful. That observation is, well, a cheap imitation of introspection that does not come very easily. If to say life is life is beautiful, you first have to acknowledge that life is equal parts suffering. Let me explain a bit more. Uh, I'll give you an example for this, where life is suffering and it is also beautiful at the same time. Well, life is, let us take an example. Consider a furnace. Yeah, that furnace, when you're standing like far from it, when you see it, all you experience is warm. Like it is hot. It is supposed to melt the metals and all the materials. Yeah, and if you think that if you'll go through the furnace, it will be a bad experience, right? Similarly, let us go to the anecdote now. Consider a scrap piece of metal going through a furnace. It is experiencing the same, all the hotness, all the bad things that we were thinking of. Once it goes through it, goes through the furnace, when it is in the process, it melts into molten metal. Molten metal, it has many impurities, and impurities have a lower evaporating point. So basically, molten metal becomes comparatively more pure when it goes through the furnace. Similarly, humans do the same. Now, extending this a bit more, when the molten metal comes out of the furnace, it is molten, and then it is molded into something new, something of more value. Similarly, humans are the same. Life is a furnace. You are a scrap of metal. Initial stages. You're a scrap of. You go through life. Life burns you, tends to make you something, make you into a malleable entity which can change. Tries to give you opportunities with which you can remove those impurities that you have, and finally tries to make you into something that is more value to yourself, because scrap metal is scrap, number one. And then when you make something out of scrap metal, it not only increases in value for itself, it also creates value. Other people can also use it. So it does not only help itself, but it also helps others. Similarly, when you come out of life, when you understand life, you'll see that after all this suffering and all, you'll realize that you gain something of much more value, and you are also of value to others more than before. And then at that particular point of time, you can say, well, life is beautiful, because you understood the main motive behind all the negative suffering thing. Now, that's the example, but this example comes with a disclaimer, 3-part disclaimer, which is important, because I took some liberties, and with this particular example, I assumed some things. Number one is action. For a inanimate object like a piece of metal going through a furnace, it does not have to do anything. Everything is done by external forces, by the workers, by the furnace and all. Life is not like that. Life, you have to put equal part action into your life to go through transition, right? So your action is important, meaning if you're going through life, you're suffering, but you are not changing anything, you are not taking any actions, then it means nothing really. So life only gives you opportunities to do that, to do those all those things, to take actions and all. So if you miss those opportunities, that's a bad thing. Number 2 is execution of action. Even if you're doing in something, even if you're taking action, execution of the same matters a lot. To explain this, take the classical example of going to a gym. uh, Consider you are going to a gym, you are doing resistance training for like 1.5 hours every day. Then you go out to the gym, go out from the gym, and you go to your home and you eat 4-5 samosas there. So everything you did means nothing. Your action was right to go to a gym and do all the training and all. However, your execution of action lacks a lot, because what you do after the main action also matters. How you are executing that particular process is also important. So action is important, execution of action is important, and third thing is the example is symmetrical, meaning the metal went through suffering and then it was created into something of value. That's it. Over. Life is not really like that. Life oscillates between positive and negative. If you are suffering, there will come a time of happiness, and if you are in happiness, be sure of it that a time will come when you will suffer, and then after that also there will come a time of happiness, and it oscillates up and down, up and down. This is not in your control. This is constant. This is life. What is in your control is the period of each interval that you can variate the period depending on how you are living your life. So to experience more moments that are positive, you have to construct your life in a way to have to make your life more recipient to those kind of experiences. Yeah, so that's the third thing about symmetry, and that's all, I guess. And wait, there was one more thing. Let me think. Yes, the last thing is this, that this whole life is an elaborate scheme to facilitate you and to being the best version of yourself. That is all life is. It is a scheme of things that is constructed in a way to have you become someone that is the best version of you. That is all. However, that does not happen automatically. You have to take actions. Inactions like drains everything down. And yeah, that's it. That is all I had. I think that is all I had. Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Bye.